we're here to help.
My hair smells like burnt mushrooms.
I'll lick your teeth if you want.
How does one turn on a wand?
Welcome. I'm Kat,
I'm Hunter.
and we are your Fairy Gaymothers Sorta. Welcome back.
Welcome back to episode 7.
Episode 7.
That's wild.
So crazy. Huge news. If you're an audio listener only, you will not see. But if you are watching this, you'll see huge milestone for us. We have mic stands.
Huge.
Huge
Considering
milestone.
I kept swapping the mic between hands and we'd have to edit out all the sounds of that.
And sometimes I got lazy and didn't even edit it out.
Did you know that in the last episode, the transition sound happens 5 minutes before the actual transition slide? 30 minutes in. I loved it.
But that was the only time?
Yeah, just the once. I loved it.
That's incredible. So usually when I'm finished editing, I get to the point where I'm like, I can't listen to
that's
this
fair.
ever again.
There was also one random whistle tone in there. Yeah, there was one intentional one,
Yeah.
and then there was just one randomly placed.
Good. I'm so glad I did that.
But I liked it. I was like, oh, how fun.
I really like to keep you guys on your toes.
Okay, why don't you explain to us what a fairy gay mother is?
Yeah. So a fairy gay mother is someone who is trying to make the world a better place. They're trying to improve it via self-improvement, via putting out radical energy into the world. And I mean radical in the same sense that I mean queer when I say that. Just mean in an extreme or different way. In an extremely different way.
How many synonyms can she think of for different?
Well, I actually don't think radical and queer are synonyms.
Wait. Because some people will be like, being radical and being queer, that feels cancelable. But then on the other hand, some people will be like, being queer is a radical act. Queer love.
Which is why I used them, but I didn't mean to use them as synonyms.
Yeah, be gay, do crime.
Exactly. It's being gay, it's doing crime, but not in an illegal crime way.
No.
It's a crime way in a social sense.
You only have to be gay in a social sense as well.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be physical.
No, exactly. And we are trying to become fairy gay mothers. We are currently in training, if you will. So in order to kind of help identify what it is we're trying to achieve, we like to highlight a fairy gay mother of the week. So this episode, we wanted to highlight someone who really exemplifies, I think, the being queer in spirit and practicing radical acceptance, radical joy, radical allyship. A huge loss for every community everywhere. The great Catherine O'Hara.
Some of the most iconic roles television has ever seen, or cinema.
Cinema, yeah, truly. Canadian queen.
Yeah.
I feel like most people probably know her from 2 roles. The Home Alone as
Kevin's
Kate.
mother.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. The fact that you remembered her name, crazy.
Of course I did. I know her as more than a mother. Kate from Home Alone.
Yeah.
And Home Alone 2. And then Moira Rose from Schitt's Creek. I also personally love her in a lot of the Christopher Guest movies. Best in Show, phenomenal. Cookie, I love Cookie. She is so hot and problematic in that role. I love it. She's not that problematic, but.
She was recently in the studio too, wasn't she?
Yeah, she was. The Last of Us. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Yeah. And I feel like she, listen, she was always extremely beautiful.
Yes.
But I do feel like she really hit the peak of her career at a later age and just owned every role with beauty and grace, even when she was playing someone insane or disheveled. She was just always such a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah.
No matter what character she was playing. And
yeah.
She brought such a humility. So
I was going to say, you can tell that regardless of how extravagant her character was or how ludicrous some of the lines were, she brought a true love of her characters to it that you're no, that is you.
Yeah. And a bunch of people from Schitt's Creek have been talking about their time together on the show.
Yeah.
And I heard so many stories about how she took Moira and really elevated her so much. It was her idea for Moira to wear a wig based on her mood. Just so eccentric and incredible.
And also the thing that I remember the most from Schitt's Creek was not even necessarily the characters, but do you remember when they rapped and all of the cast was like at a desk like reading notes from people, and there was like a bunch of mothers who sent in notes like saying how wonderful it was for them to see like the queer love on screen and how much of a difference it made to their children. And Eugene and Dan Levy and Annie Murphy and Catherine O'Hara were all like sobbing.
Yeah.
They seem like such sweet, kind, authentic people.
Yeah. Truly, I think that's one of the scenes that I remember most is the wedding, because it was so Moira in every way. Like, she came dressed as the Pope
No, like that was so good.
and like couldn't help but get emotional pretty much the entire time.
Yeah.
But also just like never wavered in her acceptance and support of like David.
Yeah, no, like it wasn't even a question.
No, and like who her kids were.
Yeah.
And I truly think that like Catherine O'Hara's portrayal of Moira helped so many people. Like it catapulted her into like this role as a mother for everyone almost.
Yeah.
And I think you're totally right in that last kind of episode special that they did where you got to see them react to how their characters have impacted.
Yeah.
And I think they had such an impact, and specifically she had such an impact.
Yeah.
We lost such an icon,
An icon.
a fairy gay mother, and I'm so grateful for everything that she did in her lifetime and all the people that she impacted.
Yeah, I'm so lucky to live in the same time as her.
Yeah. Pour one out.
So sad for those who will be born in 2026.
And now that you know a little bit more about what a fairy gay mother is, why we're trying to be one, and what they look like out there in the wild, we like to do a segment every week called our Crash Bit Bang. And that is time for us to talk about in our journey, kind of our hiccups and our successes that we've had along the way. So our crash outs are things that, you know, kind of made us go a little bit crazy. Our bits are things that we can't stop saying. And our bangs are things that we're obsessed with, that brought us joy and maybe mania. Would you like to start?
I was just about to say the same thing to you. Sure.
I beat you to it.
First of all, people keep asking me what color my hair is, as if I have any greater insight into that with my eyes than you do with yours. For those who are listening, I like re-dyed it recently, and it's probably a dark red plumish color.
Excellent description. I don't know why people can't deduce that for themselves.
But quite literally, like 4 people at my birthday party were like, so what color is that? And I was like, do you want 4.61 sunrise reaping from Garnier? That's not right. Red sunrise from Garnier Fructis. And then also with my hair, I have these little baby hairs at the very top of my forehead that were growing kind of straight. I have 2 cowlicks on either side of my forehead. So usually they curl, but those ones were going straight. And so I, probably 10 years ago at this point, cut them off with scissors, like right to the scalp. Like I took household scissors and I just cut them right to the scalp because I was like, well, whatever. And then I would like feel them. You know when a man shaves his hair and then you feel the back of his head? Like that's what it felt like right at the widow's peak of my forehead.
Wow.
Anyways, they have grown back since they're now about like maybe 6 inches long, maybe max.
Yeah.
And they still just grow straight up. So I have been taking the straightener and just like shoving them to the side to the point where they're sizzling. And so I regret doing that. And that's all. Those are the things that I've been crashing out over this week that have really upset me. Your turn.
That's intense. I contracted hand, foot, and mouth disease from my nephew who got it from daycare. For those of you who don't know, hand, foot, and mouth is a virus that infants between the ages of 0 and 5 and really cool adults get. Anyway, it causes sores and blisters inside your mouth, on your hands and your feet, and also apparently on your elbows and kneecaps. I had like honestly a super mild case. Like I was feverish. I didn't feel great for a few days. My hands and throat felt terrible for like a week. And then I was totally fine. Like it wasn't that bad, but it was just so annoying. Like I couldn't touch anything. I couldn't do anything. And people were like, you have what? And I was like, listen, I know. So anyway, that was a big crash out for me. The second one is that I was house sitting / cat sitting this last week, and we got like 2 feet of snow. And it turns out that their shovel was buried in the backyard. So it wasn't that big of a deal because a kid from across the street came and did like the walkway and the steps. Like it was fine. But it was the evening that I had to put out the garbage, and their compost bin and recycling was buried in about 3 feet of snow.
And
after
that's
the
staying there,
shoveling.
babe.
And then I had the genius idea of using a dustpan. An empty dustpan. And I
like
just
a little
really
shovel.
quickly shoveled a pathway. And
Genius.
so it was a crash out that turned into like a little victory for me.
That's honestly really smart.
It worked pretty well. Yeah. And I was pretty proud of myself. Okay. What about your bit?
I have a couple as well.
Okay.
So there was one guy, it was a video that he made, and he was like, POV, my girlfriend is singing and one of her tonsil stones flies out, and then he like catches a piece of popcorn in his mouth as if it was anyways, I almost threw up on the spot, and all I kept thinking about the fact is that you get pretty severe tonsil stone.
Only when I'm sick.
Yeah.
Because my tonsils swell.
Yeah.
And they're so porous. Like if you have trypophobia or whatever.
Yeah,
like,
don't be looking at your tonsils.
That's your worst nightmare would be to look at my tonsils.
No, yeah.
But I'm gargling with salt water like it's nobody's business.
Anyways, and then he ate it. Like I was like, first of all,
That's
as a man should, but like,
that is both hilarious
but
and
I was so nauseated.
extremely nauseating is exactly what I was gonna say.
And then the next one was just because we talked about dating apps last week. It was just like a tweet that someone had posted. But it sorry, am I the am I the ugliest person ever? Because genuinely, what are these freakshers liking me on Hinge? Like freakshers, not creature, not freak, but freakshers. I know that the word freak has negative connotations. It has some dark, deep history that we shouldn't be using, like P.T. Barnum and all that jazz, and like a freak show. Like I know that we should be using different words. It's just out of all the slurs that one is going to use, like freak gets me going.
It's really good.
And yeah. So if you were looking for new slur inspo. And that's my bit. What's yours?
So my nephew, Bobby, was having a little bit of a tantrum. He was upset that no one would play with him whilst we were cleaning up from dinner. And he had had enough of us telling him to get out. And he came up to all of us and went, "I'm going upstairs to spend some time in my room." And he turns around and then he turns back for one final word of emphasis and goes, "Ah!"
The way too that Nikki, his mom, was just like, "Set your boundaries, King."
Yeah, you go take some time for yourself.
Take some time for yourself. I think we should all be screaming more. Let it out, girl boss. Like not at each other. I just mean like we should be screaming more.
Yeah. I think sometimes we don't let people get angry, and I think that there are healthy expressions of anger that are very important.
Yeah.
And I think that that's one where like it's not harming anyone else directly. It's not like, "You are stupid."
Yeah.
I don't know why I hesitated
You're
so
a
hard.
freak sure.
Yeah.
No,
I think it's like,
always say that.
"I am upset about this thing,
Yeah.
and I'm going to go decompress."
Yeah.
So everyone else knows, like, okay, you're going to go deal with it. Like,
Yeah.
it's not about me. You've expressed that. It's out of your system. I think Bobby really is a role model for
truly.
all of us.
You know what's crazy too is that I wasn't even like thinking of that correlation, but I recently had a meltdown about something, and I went into my closet and I opened all my sweaters and I closed my head in on them and I just screamed.
Yeah.
It was really refreshing.
Yeah.
So I think Bobby's
He's onto something.
he's onto something there.
Yeah.
I think Freud has nothing on Bobby.
Freud has nothing on Bobby. What was your bang?
I have also a couple bangs. My birthday party. Recently, I turned 26 on January 26th in 2026, so it's my champagne birthday. And I had an ABBA / Mamma Mia themed birthday party at my house on the 24th. It was so fun, and I got to wear, like, I ordered one of the outfits or costumes that the actual, like, ABBA singers actually wore. And then Kat really matched that energy with overalls and basically like what the guy wore. And I wish I could tell you their names. I can't right now.
I have literally no idea what their names are.
Looked them up before this, and all I can think about right now is Zara Larson. So I fear I fear kissing my Swedish boy over state lines. Like, I don't think that's, I don't think one of them was named Zara. So, but anyways, it was just so much fun. And everyone who came out and was there, like, I felt so loved. I felt so special. Everyone pulled together and got me, like, they gave me a bunch of money to, like, put towards something that I really wanted. Like, it was just so sweet. I was so happy.
I'm so happy that you were happy because I had so much fun.
I'm really glad.
Yeah.
And then lastly, HT Hayes is a YouTuber that I follow. I think his name is Troy, or that's maybe his middle name.
Okay.
But he just reacts to music. I'm sure you've seen clips online.
Yes, I know actually exactly.
He Twitch streams it, but then like will make compilations for YouTube, and there's like a Patreon so you can see the full thing. Anyways, he just like really gets into the music and has like such a strong foundation of knowledge on like music production, and is really talented himself. Like is incredible at just like listening to the music and then immediately like whipping out the riff on his guitar or playing it on the piano. Like he's just so talented.
I love that.
And he brings so much joy. Like I just turn it on and I'm laughing, he's dancing. Like I just think it's a really bright spot of the internet that I've been really enjoying recently.
That's amazing. I love watching someone who like not only is really passionate about something, but has so much, like such a depth of knowledge about a topic, and it clearly brings them so much joy to talk about it, but also they do it in a way where you're learning so much and you learn to like see art in a new way.
He makes it so accessible too. Like it's not like he's like, the production value of blah blah blah. Like he just really breaks it down. And he's also, from what I have seen and from like he's very much so on the right side of politics as well, like the correct side. He's very, he was wearing a shirt in his last video. I listened to him react to Harry Styles' new song, and he was wearing a shirt that said, "The only ice I like is the ice that my two gay hockey boyfriends skate on." And I was just like that's so incredible.
Incredible.
He just seems like a really cool guy. And it's like such a fun way to listen to music as well. Like if I haven't heard an album yet, I will listen to his reaction to it.
That's amazing.
First. What was your bang? Yeah, bang.
My bang this week has been The Traitors. I got into The Traitors last season 3.
With Dylan Efron and Gabby Windy?
Yes.
I've seen the memes.
I wanted to talk about this season for 2 reasons.
Okay.
One is that Colton Underwood from The Bachelor is on this season. And we actually talked about Colton a couple episodes ago because he made a post about heated rivalry.
I do think he's been canceled since then.
So that's why I wanted to talk about this, because it hasn't been that like he's been canceled since then. It is because of his actions on The Traitors that I learned more about what has happened with him. So basically, the woman that he was engaged to at the end of his season.
Yeah.
Essentially, like, there's been restraining orders filed against him. Like, he was accused of like stalking and harassing her.
I think I heard that recently.
Yeah.
Okay.
But before that, on the season, he was really annoying me anyway, because they're clearly giving him the Dylan Efron treatment. And for anyone who didn't, I'm going to get into that.
Oh.
For anyone who didn't watch the last season of The Traitors, Dylan Efron was kind of beloved by the audience because like he had a really good instinct for who he thought a traitor was. But he presented his case and then let everyone else kind of do their own thinking.
Okay.
Anyway, he just like is very genuine, and I think that's what the audience reacted to. Whereas Colton this season has been like, I think it's this person and everyone needs to vote with me and everyone needs to vote my way. And like, it's just annoying. And I think he's really annoying. And then I found out all this stuff about everything he's done. And there was also a really interesting moment with Michael Rappaport, who is, he was the dad in Atypical, and I can't think of anything else that he's been in because I find him so annoying. He kind of alluded to the fact that Colton would be a really good traitor because he knows how to keep secrets. And a lot of people took that as like him being closeted for 29 years. I genuinely think Michael Rappaport is too stupid that he never would have made that connection. But I will not sit here for 1 second and defend Michael Rappaport.
Right.
So I think, unfortunately, this season has had a real contrast between people you want to root for and people who you absolutely hate. And the people you absolutely hate have been the faithfuls. So people have been rooting for the traitors, which is really fun.
I've heard good things about the show, especially from last season onwards. And I have seen just a couple of edits of both Boston Rob and then Love Island Rob. I don't know if he has like another
Alabama Rob.
Yeah, Alabama Rob. Yeah, Snake Wrangler Rob.
Yeah.
Just saying that like Boston Rob walked so that Love Island Rob could run. But I feel like I'm going to have to watch it because there have been some funny clips that I've seen
real
online.
good and it's freaking hilarious. Yeah.
All right, well, let's take a brief break.
Yeah.
And then we'll come back with the lesson.
Alrighty.
Au revoir. Welcome back.
Hello again. Hunter, why don't you tell them about the lesson for this week?
The lesson for this week is to know thy trope. Insert image here.
Woo! Know thy trope.
Know thy trope. This was inspired by us watching People We Meet on Vacation, and then we got into kind of a deeper conversation about tropes that are used in, I guess, like specifically romance novels and movies. And we thought, what better place to discuss our thoughts on this than our podcast?
Because we have some intense thoughts, really, on romance tropes in particular.
Absolutely. I could talk about this all day, every day.
Yeah.
When we watched People We Meet on Vacation, I was like, classic friends to lovers, classic miscommunication. And I was like, I would never do that.
Yeah.
I would never do that. But you know what? I do feel like there are some examples in real life where people do fall into these tropes. And so it's important to know that about yourself so that you can know how to get out of these tropes or how to get into the ones that you love.
Yeah. If you want an enemies to lovers trope, let's talk about how to find your enemy.
Yeah. Let's talk about how to make some.
Yeah. Let's talk about how to make enemies.
Yes, I was going to actually give a list of tropes for the audience so that we could kind of have like a basis of what we're talking about.
Yeah.
So there's many tropes in books, but there are some popular ones. So Kat already mentioned enemies to lovers. So that's where obviously that's self-explanatory.
I was going to say, do we have an example of enemies to lovers?
In theory, Pride and Prejudice was known as like one of the OG enemies to lovers because Mr. Darcy's an asshole.
Yep.
Then there's Grumpy Sunshine. What's an example of that one? Who would be?
Like one person is grumpy and one person is sunshine?
So typically, if it's in a heterosexual context, the girl is like the golden retriever sunshine, like loves everything, and then the man is grumpy. Like Enchanted.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, okay.
Great one.
Then we've got friends to lovers. So our example was People We Meet on Vacation.
Yep.
We've got opposites attract, which can be grumpy sunshine, but also could be like type B man who never plans anything and girl who works too hard or
yes,
something like
or
that. Or
maybe like April and Andy from Parks and Rec.
Perfect. Yes. Okay. Then there's fake dating, which is when for some reason the characters must get into a fake relationship.
Like faking it.
Like faking it. Or To All the Boys I've Loved Before, they start in a fake relationship. Then there's forced proximity. So that's when characters are stuck together in a confined space. So I don't have an example off the top of my head, but it could be like if you're snowed in at a cabin.
I was going to say.
2-Night Stand.
Yeah, 2-Night Stand.
Was that what you were going to say?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, great movie.
Yeah.
Then there's Second Chance, which is former lovers that are brought back together in some sort of context. And then usually those books flip between past and present, but it doesn't have to necessarily focus on the past. You just know that there's history there. Or there's a love triangle. I feel like classic Twilight.
Yeah, Twilight. What was the one that was just popular recently with the Belly?
My Life at the Walter Boys? Oh, no. Summer I Turned Pretty.
Summer I Turned Pretty. Yeah.
That one specifically is a love triangle with brothers. And
that's a whole subgenre.
That's a whole subgenre. Then there's sports romance. And that is a huge genre.
Huge.
But Heated Rivalry would be an example of a sports romance. There's also like romantasy/fantasy, which is more of a genre, but it is kind of also like if there's some sort of magical element or like, fated mates is a big one where like it is a unbreakable bond and you find your mate. There's accidental pregnancy. That one's a big one. There's runaway bride. There's lots of different tropes, but those are kind of some of the most popular ones. Oh, forbidden love also. That's a big one. Like Romeo, Juliet type vibes.
Yeah.
We can get further into it. Like reverse harem, a why choose, but I don't think we should.
Whoa,
because that's for people who are reading smut.
Okay, okay.
That's for people who know what's up. So, we thought we would play a fun little game.
Hey everyone, editing Kat jumping in here just to say huge spoiler alert for all the books that Hunter is about to bring up.
So I have selected some books with some tropes. And I was going to explain the conflict to Kat, and then she would have to tell me how she, as a lesbian, would resolve it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, as a preface, None of these are like sapphic novels nor like queer romances because I haven't read enough for me to. There's not as many out there.
Yeah.
Obviously, but I just haven't read enough to do that. And also, some of this stupid shit doesn't happen in those books. Okay, let's start with, this one is a YA novel by Lynn Painter, who is a pretty big in the YA space. She wrote Nothing Like the Movies, which was like really blew up. But this one specifically is about a boy and a girl. I think they're in high school at this point. And basically, she moved away when they were kids and they were best friends, and she comes back to town. They end up fake dating for no reason. Like, there's really no need to get into that. But he is a hockey player, and his nemesis kind of goads him into punching him. And so he's like, I'm going to go to the cops unless you break up with him. And so, even though they were in a fake relationship, so she fake dumps him, or she dumps him.
Yeah.
Right before his playoff game because
Gonna screw with his mojo.
it's going to screw with his mojo because to stop this guy from going to the cops.
Okay. Well, there's a lot to unpack here. So they're fake dating for no reason?
He has made a couple mistakes and has ruined his like image, and he's trying to get drafted into the NHL. So dating this wholesome girl is going to make him look better. And she's new to town, and she's like, I have no friends. So he's like, I'm popular. You can have like my reputation. So they start fake dating. Obviously, they fall in love, and I believe by the point where she's breaking up with him, they have decided to like try it for real.
Okay. First of all, I would like to say there's no such thing as fake dating.
Also, that's not a good enough reason to fake date.
There is friendship in denial. Okay. Like if especially in that context, like I have no friends. Hello, I'm friend. Not we must date, because I get it from the PR perspective. Truly, I do.
That's a common trope too.
Of the PR relationship.
Yeah.
I understand the benefit of like, in theory, I understand the benefit of like, you need to look more wholesome and pure, and this relationship will help your image do that. Sure. I think as soon as it's anything more than like this could have been solved with a friendship, you're just two people with feelings in denial.
Yeah. Anyway, but my biggest issue wasn't even why they were fake dating. My biggest issue is, why are you breaking up with him because someone was like, oh, I'm going to go to the cops then? You could literally just say to him like, hey, he's threatening to go to the cops. Go play the final game, win, and then we'll get back together. Like,
Yeah.
if we were dating and someone was like, you need to break up with Katrina, or I'm going to do this, I would come up to you and say, they said that they're going to do this if I don't break up with you. So we have to pretend to be broken up for a bit.
Exactly.
Or just, you know, this is the other consequence. And like, I'm telling you that. And she was like, I don't want him to go to jail or like get in trouble for this. So I have to break up with him. Like he'll never understand, but that's okay. I can sacrifice this. Girl, what? You're 18.
No. Yeah.
First of all, like, I think you'd struggle to find a judge who's going to throw your ass in jail permanently for punching a kid in the face after he made fun of your girlfriend.
Yeah.
Anyways, I just thought the whole thing was really stupid.
Oh my gosh.
But that's really common in romance novels. It's like, someone's forcing me to break up with him, so like I will. Or like, I have to break up with her because her dad said that he'll cut her off financially. So like, I'm a rat. I'm going to tell you. I'm going to be like, do you know what your dad just said to me?
Yeah. Also, like, sometimes I think if you're given an ultimatum or you're being blackmailed like that, sure, sometimes the consequences are not worth the relationship, but I don't get the not telling the person most of the time.
No, they're like, it's going to hurt them. Okay.
So is breaking up. Like,
yeah, exactly. Okay, this is one that's popular, and it's becoming a show on Amazon Prime. It's called The Deal by Elle Kennedy. It's the off-campus series, but this is the first one in the series. I also believe that there are like 4 to 5 book series that are all in the same world. So there's a lot of tropes that are played with in this series. But this first one is Goody Two-Shoes girl who's very smart and a singer, I believe.
Yep.
And then there's captain of the hockey team, Garrett Graham.
Okay.
And the main girl, so Hannah is the singer and Garrett is the hockey player. And she wants to ask out some other guy, but is like nervous and doesn't have much experience. So somehow she ends up tutoring Garrett and he ends up tutoring her right back. Tutoring her right back, if you get what I mean. For some schmexperience. There is some like trauma involved in there, which is why she's also like not comfortable doing a lot of things with different people. So I think she like builds a trust with Garrett and they start doing these things.
Right.
But then they start liking each other. But he's still under the impression that she wants to ask out this other guy.
Okay.
But it is very clear that they're developing feelings for each other throughout the book. Then basically neither one of them has communicated to the other that they like each other. And then she goes to like talk to another guy. And he basically spills that Garrett went around and threatened everyone and said like, don't touch her. That's my gal. And then she goes and yells at him. And then he's like, you don't even want a real relationship. And then eventually they obviously get back together. And I believe that's kind of like the plot there. You know, what's really crazy is that a big trope is like schmeck's lessons.
Schmeck's, yeah.
Yeah. Huge trope. Like I can, and especially in hockey books.
Really?
Yeah.
I can't think of a trope of athlete that would be less schmexually generous than hockey players.
Truly. I also, someone else has this trope too. It's called Mixed Signals by B.K. Borison. And she's never been treated right by anybody. And he wants to practice dating. He has a huge crush on her and you know that from the beginning.
Okay.
But anyway, so they practice like going on dates and things like that. And then obviously the sexual favors come with that. And then they start practicing that as well. And I was like, you're going to have to bleep this. But I have never met anyone in my life who has for practice. Like, are people really dating and for practice? Like, are we really doing that? You're just dating, actually.
No, you're
or sleeping
just
together.
dating.
You're just seeing each other. Like,
I know people who have claimed that that's the reason why they're sleeping with someone else. At the very least, just say you're friends with benefits. Like,
right?
Like the favor being exchanged here is not knowledge. Okay.
And also, too, sorry, but like, sex with every person is going to be different. So, like, what are you practicing? You are practicing with one specific person who has specific tastes. Like, you're not learning anything for the next person.
No.
And when do lessons stop? Like, when have you aced the test?
When have you graduated?
And also, too, like, why is it that... So obviously every time this happens, like, they end up falling in love and then neither one of them want to, like, communicate that. And they're like, it's just fake to her and it's just fake to him, or this is just for practice. Like, open your mouth and communicate.
Yeah, that's one thing about lesbians. They are incapable of being silent about their feelings. Right. Like, they will tell you way before they even should that they have feelings for you.
There's a book that I read. It is sapphic, actually.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember the name. It's by Alison Cochrane. Anyways, they are doing the Camino el Santiago, like that long trek in Portugal.
Yep.
And one of them is like newly out as a lesbian. And then there's like a senior lesbian, and they start doing like sex lessons. And I'm pretty sure 30 pages in, she's like, I have feelings for you. I love you. I want to be with you forever. And then the senior lesbian is like, she communicates.
I've heard this before.
She communicates. She's like, it's probably not me that you love. And also like, you live in America and like, I like to keep traveling and blah, blah, blah. Obviously they end up together. It's called Every Step She Takes.
Every move
But that's what I mean. Like that was the lesbian's attempt at a sex lessons trope. And immediately it was like, should we date for real?
Yeah.
Like sometimes they have the casual conversation where they're like, I don't want this to be fake anymore. And they're like, me neither. And then they like hook up or something like that. And then they never talk about it again. I would be like, so what does this mean? Yeah. What are our boundaries? Yeah. What do we think of ourselves as? Like,
yeah. I'm going to over communicate.
Yeah. We're going to make an Excel chart. Yeah. This one is crazy. This kind of goes into the like, but it's like the I'm not good enough for you trope where, and it has happened on like, in characters that are both like men and women, where it's like the girl's like, I'm just like not, it's usually physically based for the women like that I've read. It's like, I'm just like not hot enough for you or whatever. Or like I'm holding you back because you're going to the NHL. Whereas the guys are always like, I'm broken. And like, you deserve your sunshine and you deserve the world. But this one is also by Elle Kennedy. It's called The Dare.
Okay.
And I will preface that I hate the way that most authors write mid to plus size characters.
Okay.
Because their entire character arc is usually just like their body. And it irritates me that that's their entire personality.
Yep.
Because people are more than that. Like,
yeah.
And like everyone has gone through body insecurities. And I'm not saying that it's the same for someone who's like thin bodied versus fat bodied, but like there are other thoughts that go on in someone's head.
Yeah.
And so anyway, so this girl is mid-sized and the like popular girl like dares her to go up to this like hot guy on the hockey team who's also on a hockey team with Garrett Graham, same series, same university. She goes up to him and basically is like, can you kiss me? Like, it's just a dare. And like, she thinks that no one would. And I know you probably think I'm disgusting, but like, please. And then he's like, sure, babe. And then they make out. And then I think he's like, let's go upstairs and give them like something to talk about, basically. So he takes her upstairs and he's actually interested in hooking up. And she's like, he couldn't possibly be interested in hooking up with me. And then I think they eventually get together and they keep hooking up. But the entire time she's just like, I'm not hot enough to be with him. Like, he should be with someone like her, like, blah, 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 blah. And he's very verbally affirmative of the fact that he wants her. He's like, I am very attracted to you. Like, I love your body. I
cannot emphasize this enough. Seek help. Seek help. If your perception of yourself is that you are so disgusting that no one would ever want to be with you for whatever reason, for whether that be your body or the way you act or whatever, and someone has given you as much verbal reassurance or reassurance really in any way that you have asked for, and they cannot deliver anymore, clearly the work is internal, girl. Clearly we've got some things to work through, okay? But real quick, because you were talking about for the men, a lot of the times it's like, I'm so broken.
Yes.
That is a trope that I despise.
Yeah.
Because like in theory, I understand that like I can fix him or like he'll be different with me. And I think it comes to a very similar place as what we were just talking about with the body image thing, where you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. You can show someone healthy love. That will not fix them.
No.
You can love the emotionally broken man. That does not mean he will empty the dishwasher.
And isn't that the truth?
Yeah.
Pour one out for all those married women out there. Yeah, no, it's always like, I'm too in the head for you, and like you deserve someone who will be there for you. Or, oh my gosh, what's the famous line? Like, it's like, guys like me don't end up with girls like you.
Yeah.
Guys like me end up alone.
Yeah.
Not often enough.
Sorry. Like, all you're saying is that you are unwilling to put in the work to be with this person.
Yeah.
Say that with your chest.
Literally. You don't want a girlfriend, you want a therapist?
Literally, yeah.
Okay. Here's the other one. This one is crazy. This book made me want to throw up. Okay. Also, too, one thing about me is that my least favorite tropes are, one, accidental pregnancy, because there's just no part of me that wants to read about a woman who was pregnant. like that's a horror book for me. And a lot of the times too, I'm just very pro-choice. And so anytime that there's a book where the main character feels morally obligated or like is pressured by others to keep the baby, I'm like,
no way.
Like, or their friends like shame them. Like, if you came to me and you were like, I'm pregnant, I don't want to be, I would be like, staircase, bat to the stomach, or clinic. Like, what are we feeling?
You'd be like, hey girl, how can I support you?
Yes. Like, I would view you as a person and it as a fetus. It as a problem.
It as a parasite.
A parasite, yeah. And so I hate accidental pregnancies and I hate second chance romances. So a very popular book with a second chance book is Love in Other Words by Christina Lauren, which are actually two authors named Christina and Lauren. They write together under the pen name Christina Lauren.
Excellent.
And so this book, basically it flips between the past and the present, and the FMC, like female main character, that's what I'll refer to them as. FMC is like the girl protagonist, and then MMC is the male protagonist. So the FMC's mother died when she was young. So her and her father bought a house, I think it was like in Michigan or something like that, and they would go up there on the weekends like to get away from everything because obviously it had left like a huge hole in their life. And the MMC, he lived next door to that vacation house that they had. So they first met when they were kids, when they moved in, and like he was actually in where her room is. Like he used to sneak into that house and read his books there. So they read together, they become really close friends. And as things go on, they develop feelings for each other. And then eventually they get together. And I'm pretty sure it gets up to the point where they sleep together. Then she is back at home for the school year and he's gone to university, I think. And he is at this party and he calls her drunk and is like, I just really want you here. And he proposes to her on the phone. He's like, I want to marry you. And she's like, you can ask me that in person. And so he's like, come. And she's like, I can't. I'm with my dad. We're doing something tonight. And her and her dad are close, like, especially too, because it's just the family of two. And so she's out with her dad and she's like, I can't. But then she's like really stressed about it, saying that, you know, he sounded really drunk. He really wanted me there. Like, I feel like I should go. So her dad is like, totally, you go. I think it was like raining or something like that. So he was like, be careful. And can you text me when you get there? And she's like, thank you so much. She goes. Is he not naked on the bed with another woman? So he slept with someone else. He's passed out though. So he doesn't even see her. She goes to her vacation house and is like sobbing in the attic there. And then her dad shows up and is like freaking out. Like, you never texted me that you made it here. The weather is bad. Like, blah, 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 blah. Like, I came all this way, sees that she's upset. And she's like, I just want to go home. So he's like, okay. So they get in the car to go back home. They get into a car crash and the dad dies.
No.
Yeah. So she never speaks to that man again.
Never.
And then 5 years later, they see each other in a coffee shop. She's engaged to another man at this point. They're not really in love. Like, they're just kind of together because she always had such a hard time moving on, and he was kind of the first guy that she felt safe enough with to move on with. But she runs into this guy in the coffee shop and she just leaves. Like, she's like, goodbye. And then he follows after and he's like, what happened? Like 5 years ago, like you just stopped talking to me. And then, so it flips between the past and the present, you know, you keep going. I will say, she tells her fiance, like, I ran into this friend from high school or whatever, or like a childhood friend. We did date. Like, she tells him everything. And she's like, I, you know, saw him or whatever. And he's like, do you still love him? And she was like, I don't think so, but I feel weird about it. And he's so mature about it. And he's like, I totally understand. Like, if I saw my ex-wife, like, and he's a kid too. So he's like, if I saw my ex-wife and like she wanted to work things out, like it would make me feel weird as well. So like, we only have to talk about this when you feel like you're in the wrong place with me. Like, he's so mature about it.
That's crazy.
Yeah. He was so good. Like, he's just like, he's like, what happens between you two is none of my business. But like, if it comes to the point where you're like, what am I doing here in this relationship? Like, then you talk to me about it.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa, a man. So he's so mature about it over. And then the MMC, he's very clear about the fact. He's like, I want you back. Like, I am moved back to this city to find you. Like, I want to be with you. He runs into her at the coffee shop. They speak 2 words to each other. He goes home and breaks up with his girlfriend immediately. And he's like, no, it's not fair to be with you because I want her. Like, he's so clear about it. And
Whoa.
she was like, I'm engaged. And he's like, I'll respect that. But you know what my intentions are. Like, I want to be with you. And she's like, I'm engaged, but I think we could be friends again. And then she finds out something that he like lied to her about. So they have a huge fight or whatever. And then finally it all comes out that like she blames him for her dad being dead.
I can see that.
And he had no idea that her dad even died.
Brother, are you not reading the obituaries?
Also, I'm not gonna lie, I don't buy that. Your neighbors.
Your
and you're
neighbors.
tabling that nobody. And he was like, our families weren't connected. Like, there was no reason why I would have known. Facebook.
And I'm sorry, but neighbors gossip.
Anyways, and then he's like, I can't get over this. Like, you thought I killed your dad. And like, she's like, I forgive you. Like, it was me who cut you off. And then they stay together.
No. Like, I just have to say to all of it, no.
Right? Like, there's no need to date each other.
No. Like I totally understand why you hate second chance romance, because I agree. I think it's a lot of like reopening old wounds.
Yes.
And going through a billion scenarios about why something didn't work. And there is a lot of pain in like the realities of why usually relationships don't work. Even if you were 12. like a lot of the time, especially when you're in an established relationship and you're then going back, being like, I wonder why this man from my childhood, like, who I've dreamt about every day since since we parted, I wonder if he could truly be part of my life. Like, that involves putting your current life under a crazy microscope and finding every reason why you're not happy.
And guess what? There's no need for second chance because you can date someone who won't f someone else. Yeah. There's so many people in the world. Like,
no, that's insane.
Like, what trope is that?
No. No. Generally, I think it completely depends on the reason that you broke up in the first place. And all of that, like cheating? Cheating? Nuh-uh. Nuh-uh. They have shown that they are not afraid to break your trust. And they will do it again.
They'll do it again. Anyways, that was a ludicrous. And so in my Goodreads review, we're supposed to be switching to Fable. F you, Jeff Bezos. I understand that. But in my Goodreads review, I was like, this book made me want to throw up.
Yeah.
And one of our friends responded like, in the best way, though. No. So those are some crazy. This is, I guess this has turned into like lesbian perspectives on crash outs in books. Okay, now I have one that's actually realistic.
Okay.
Or I guess like I have a couple that could be realistic and I want your perspective on that. Like what you would do in those situations, whether you think they behaved appropriately. So these are actually Emily Henry books. So technically these aren't listed as romance. They're listed as fiction. Women's fiction, which makes no sense.
Interesting.
So Emily Henry writes more of like a mixture between romance and fiction. And so I find hers to be slightly more realistic or at least have like appropriate responses to things, and also like nothing crazy where your dad drove down in the rain and died because your boyfriend cheated. Like nothing crazy like that. So we'll start with my favorite of her books called Funny Story.
Okay.
So Funny Story, the premise is there is Daphne and Peter, and they are engaged, and then there's Petra and Miles. Petra and Peter have been best friends since childhood. And so when they go away for Peter's bachelor trip, Petra goes because she's like one of his best friends.
It's a little odd.
Yeah.
Okay.
But they have sworn up and down to both Miles and Daphne that like there's nothing between them. They're truly just like the most platonic best friends. They've been in each other's lives forever. So Daphne has never felt insecure about it.
Okay.
They come back from the trip and Peter goes, she said she's in love with me and I love her too. And so he breaks off the engagement and then says, we're going to go to like Mexico for 2 weeks. You can be moved out by then, right? So Daphne, who they had just moved to Michigan together for Peter because his family's there and they were going to be closer to them, now has no place to live. So Miles, who's also just been dumped, has a spare bedroom. So she moves in with Miles just while she's trying to like figure out what's next.
Yep.
And Peter and Petra end up getting engaged immediately and move into the house that they were in. So Miles and Daphne are both just miserable, just like bitter and miserable. Anyways, they don't really interact that much. Like they're truly just living together, but they sort of have like a camaraderie in the sense that like, wow, those people suck. Eh? And then they receive a wedding invitation in the mail to Petra and Peter's wedding. And Daphne and Miles are sickened and they drink they both drink a whole bottle of wine and then when they're drunk, they're like, we should go, like just to say like, F you, like you don't get to have the last word. And then Peter calls Daphne and is like, hey, I saw that you said like you are going. I thought maybe that was a mistake. And like, you don't have to do that. I don't want you to be uncomfortable. And she's like, don't even worry. I have a new boyfriend. And then he was like, but you didn't put like +1. And she goes, because he was invited too. And he's like, what? And she's like, me and Miles were together. And so it's like fake dating, forced proximity, which is it honestly is really funny. Like it's a really funny book.
Yeah.
So anyways, him and Daphne, I think, hook up for real. And then they're like, we should not do this because we're best friends. Like we've become each other's best friends and like confidants and all this. But they keep fake dating when they see Petra and Peter. And then eventually they get into a fight because Daphne's like, I can't tell what's real and what's fake anymore. And I don't like it. Like you only kiss me when Peter and Petra are around and like, I can't do this anymore. And he's like, it's just easier to find an excuse, babe. And so they get together. And they have like a wonderful little night. And then the next morning he is gone. And she goes to and she's like, okay, he's gone to work. She goes to work. He's supposed to be picking her up from work. She sits there for like an hour. He does not come. He texts her. She like calls him like 11 times and is really worried that something happened to him because he has always like been on time when he said he would be, like stuff like that. And then finally he responds, sorry, something came up. And that's it.
Blocked, deleted.
And then he was I think he's supposed to do something else. And he's like, sorry, had to help a friend, lost track of time. So she's like, that is twice now that you have like blown me off, given me no explanation. And then I still haven't like seen you. You've given me nothing. And then Peter shows up at the door and is like, Petra and I broke up. I realized that I should, like, that was just me panicking. That was cold feet. I want to be with you. And Daphne's like, literally eat my ass. Which I was like, thank God. Because a lot of the other romance books I've read where it's like, there's like the ex or whatever, it's always like, there's so much history. Daphne was like, hell no.
Yeah.
You're fried. He's like, we can finally get our life back. And she's like, I don't want it.
No. Once again, they've broken your trust. They will break it again.
Yeah.
Okay.
And she's like, I don't even like who I was with you. Like, she was like, I had no life outside of you and I won't be doing that again.
No.
So he goes, but Peter is now bitter and he's like, you know, like he's with her right now, right? And she's like, and he's like, Miles is moving Petra out of my house right now as we speak. He's been with her all weekend. So she's infuriated.
Me too, girl.
She's like, where were you the past couple days? He's like, I had to help a friend with something. And she's like, which friend? And he's like, and so then she's like, no, like, please just say it. And so he's like, Petra. And she's like, unbelievable. Anyways, he was like, I'm sorry. Like, she needed help. She was crying. And of course, like, I still care about her. And so I had to go help her. Like, she has my truck right now. I left and literally came back here. I know I was being an idiot. And so like I came back and then I had all these like plans for grand gestures and I just didn't know how to execute them. So then I got you this stupid box of fudge and like basically it just like goes off. And she was like, no, like you're off the hook. It's fine. And he's like, no, put me on the hook. Like, I want to be on the hook. Like, and she was like, you freaked out and like panicked and left. And he's like, that doesn't mean I don't love you. And she goes, no, you do not get to say that to me right now. She's like, I didn't need gestures. Like, I just needed you to show up. Like, and so she leaves, slams the door. And then she's like, I'm taking a job where my mom lives. Like, I'm leaving. Then they obviously like don't talk for like a little bit. And then she has a big work event and he shows up as a volunteer. And they don't talk the entire event like she's been working. It's like, honestly, I'll give her that. Like, she was like, this is my job. I cared about this. Like, she's finishing this first. So she does not get distracted. Like, she does her thing. And then at the end of the work event, she goes up to him and then she asks him to go for a walk. And they go for a walk and basically he says something. She basically says like, oh yeah, like Peter came and told me that you were with Petra. And he thinks they've gotten back together. So he's like, oh, like happy for you. And she's like, ew, no, that's not what's happening either. And then I think she just concedes and is like, you know, like he said, like, I wasn't panicking. I woke up and I was really, really happy. And then Petra called and was sobbing and I've never heard her cry that hard. So like I went to help her. And then she got in my head being like, Daphne needs stability. You know, Daphne wants kids, like all of these things about Daphne and that like, and saying like, me and you can't handle things like that. And then he snapped out of it and came back and was like, I just didn't know how to apologize and things like that. And so she concedes. And he's like, well, then will you like move back in and like come back? And she's like, no, I don't want, like when Peter and I broke up, I had no life outside of him. And so I don't want that happening here, but like we can stay and we can date.
I feel like it's the real version of a bunch of tropes that could happen.
Right.
And what I love the most about it is that even though, like you said, Daphne concedes, at every point, she still did what she needed for herself.
Yes. So I think you're right. Like, I think it was a bunch of, like, different tropes, but what was your, like, gut reaction to any of that? Were you like, oh, stupid straight people? Like, at any point?
Literally the whole time, I was like, oh, stupid straight people. Specifically, the one point where they were like, oh, well, we're maybe it was just your wording, but we're best friends now. Like, I'm sorry, if you have a friend and you have ever thought about hooking up with said friend and it has brought you joy, that's not your friend, okay? You've got a crush.
Friends to lovers is one of like the most beloved of tropes. And I think it can be really sweet because it's not about lust. It's like, you know, like they genuinely have like a true affection for this person. But I personally like if I've been friends with you, like you are my friend.
You're my friend.
Like I don't have a friend that like, just kidding, you're all beautiful.
Yeah.
But like, I just mean like if I have put you in my brain as a friend, like I rarely think that that's changing. And And I've never experienced it where it has changed. Like if I see you platonically, like I don't think you're moving into that romantic category for me.
No.
Unless I've always liked you a little.
Yeah.
In which case, sure, but then you're not friends.
No.
Like, then you have a crush.
And it's okay to have a crush.
Yeah.
But like,
no,
it's not okay to be in denial for years.
For years.
When this shit comes up and you're like, but we can't because we're friends. Like that shit annoyed me in people we meet on vacation.
Yes. You know what's crazy too is in the book, it's even more explicit. And she says about her friendship with Alex, she says, we're best friends 90% of the time. The other 10% of the time, I want to make out. And then that number kind of increases between like 15, 25%, goes back down to 5. Like, but there's always that attraction.
If it's even 2%.
If there is 1% of you that wants to kiss your friend of 10 years,
yeah.
Like, but I think if you are romantically and sexually attracted to your friend, it's not just a friendship.
No.
And that goes for even if it's unrequited. Like, you are hung up on them.
Yeah.
Your relationships with other people haven't worked because you are hung up on this person.
Yeah.
Like, which is like, so it just doesn't really compute to me. Like, I think it's sweet in theory when I read these like friends to lovers tales, but I'm not believing it.
No. It's to me always reads as more like two people in denial than it does to friends to lovers.
Yeah. And I've never gotten drunk with one of my friends either. And like something's happened.
Something's happened.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I would never do that sober.
Yeah. Like no, because you know what? When I'm drunk, my shoes are getting thrown above my head and I'm busting it down. Like the last thing I'm thinking of is about a friend I've had for 10 years. People are like drunk texting their exes or their friends and like saying something like a little bit bold, like alluding to more than friendship. I am screaming at a random man on the street, like calling him a flat earther. Like a lot of people, because we talked about friends to lovers, I feel like the other biggest one is enemies to lovers.
Yes.
And I really quickly, a lot of people say that that's most people's favorite trope because they like the idea of someone knowing the worst things about you and still choosing to love you. Like because enemies see your worst side, they see how cruel and mean you can be, you've hurt them, and they've seen like the worst parts of you and still love you after, or like choose to be with you.
I love that as a description. I feel as though, is that really what enemies are?
Also, most of these like books that are like enemies to lovers, I'm like, you're like rivals with tension.
Literally,
like,
yeah.
Like, heated rivalry was not lovers, enemies to lovers.
No.
They literally upon first.
Like competitors with mutual respect, first of all.
Like, sorry, but Shane immediately was like, hey, I'm Shane Hollander. Like, there was no animosity there.
Yeah.
So I think that like, I think rivals to lovers is more probably what people like. Mm-hmm. True enemies to lovers, I'm not going to lie. Hell no. Are you going to treat me like that and then you want me to fall in love with you after?
No.
There was
if you've been mean to me, you're it's over.
It's over. And awesome, we're being mean now. My turn. Like, there's no going back. There's a book called Quicksilver by Callie Smith or something like that. Anyways, it's supposed to be enemies to lovers. It is fantasy, which sometimes I prefer in my romances because if you're going to be stupid and not get together, it better be because the world is ending. Like, there better be some sort of like that. It's not a miscommunication. It's the fact that like you're in war.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's no time to communicate, you know?
No, like your family's houses are have been opposed for generations and like you hate each other because like our grandfathers murdered each other.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that's
Like,
enemies.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie. Do we think it's like a straight problem in the sense that the whole idea of like they know every like thing about you, the good, the bad, the ugly, and like they choose to love you. Does a man ever know you? Like so do you want an enemies to lovers because he's seen the bad or just because he's seen you at all?
He's seen you at all. Yeah. I was flashing back to Rachel Berry and Jesse St. James and how theoretically they were enemies because they were on
yes, Vocal Adrenaline versus the New Directions.
Yeah, because they were on Rival. But that reminds me of Heated Rivalry more because they're two people with immense talent who think only someone else in their similar category
You're right.
at their level would ever understand them. So I think
That's rivals to lovers again.
I think, yeah, we need to revise the genre categorization.
But what was the lesson of like Know Thy Trope? What would you say we should take away from this?
I think at the end of the day, we've got to recognize that a lot of these tropes boil down to miscommunication, denial of your own feelings, or self-hatred that you probably need to be therapized for.
Absolutely.
And that sometimes these tropes are helpful because they help us recognize what we are into, what we want,
What we're not into?
And also sometimes what traps we fall into.
Yeah.
In relationships, in our pursuit of romance.
Yeah.
So there's something to be learned always in the discussion of romance and in the exploration of every trope, because it reflects at the end of the day some experience of love and our understanding and pursuit of relationships.
That was so eloquently put.
Thank you.
Of course. I think the dismissal of the romance genre in general is silly and stupid. And I think that even if like it's a repeated trope or even something that like you're like, oh, I hate this trope, like there is something about a happily ever after or just like painting the world in a more romantic light than what you see it in, or like what you sometimes see on on TV and on the news and things like that. Like I think that's bringing some good into the world as well. It's like a bright spot of literature.
Yeah.
And I think that it's really not that ludicrous for women to want to feel desired and known and cherished by men.
Yeah. And if sci-fi as a genre never really is criticized for being unrealistic, that's kind of the whole point.
Yeah.
Is that it takes something and distorts it in a way that reflects our current reality. And I think romance is kind of an extension of that.
Absolutely. That's a great point.
It takes how we feel about love and relationships and what the ideal is and where the gaps are in terms of like how it really happens and how it could happen.
Absolutely.
And how, you know, if romance is a genre mostly consumed by and written by women, how women ideally see romance. Like,
absolutely. I think, no, that's a great point, that it's not unrealistic to want to be or to demand to be treated with respect and kindness. And the fact that Star Trek can be, you know, respected as, and it should be as art or whatever. But the minute someone writes a romance novel, like, or enjoys romance novels, they're discredited. Ridiculous. Yeah.
Yeah. What about you? What was your favorite part of the episode? Let us know down below. Did you learn anything? Is there any genre or are there any tropes that you're going to be giving a second chance to? Whoa.
Yeah, I also learned I don't want to be accidentally pregnant or get back together with an ex. Also, if there's a topic that you want us to cover, put that in the comments. We've had, actually, shout out to Nick, my boy, responded back with some, like, he engaged in the conversation with our last podcast where we talked about dating apps and the algorithms. We loved it.
We loved it.
So send us more.
Yeah. Send us some feedback. Send us,
No, I don't want constructive criticism. Send her feedback.
Yeah, and I'll gently relay it to Hunter in a way that doesn't sound like feedback or criticism at all.
We can fake date, and that's how she'll tell me.
Yes. Perfect.
And then she'll say you either have to stop stuttering so much during your podcast or we have to break up. Thanks for tuning in.
Please leave a like, leave us a comment, subscribe if you feel so inclined.
Even if you don't, it helps us out.
It helps us out.
And you can mute us.
Yeah.
Like, there's no need.
Yeah, you could leave this video playing in the background as long as you give us a little thumbs up and maybe leave an emoji in the comments or something. I don't really know. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. We'll be back hopefully next week.
Yes, we're going to be better. All right, we need to go.
Bippity boppity bye.
Chimmy chimmy.